be grateful for these conversations. And because we have a lot to discuss today, I will start right on time. And those who join in will catch up with us and probably also share the report. Yes, I was going to ask if Miriam is recording. I can see the recording has started. So good morning once again. Hello, welcome. Good afternoon or good early or late morning for some of you. We're happy to have you here for our third and final conversation in this series of conversations. Once again, on behalf of the GNC Anti-Racism and Localization Working Group, we're happy to have you here. We're happy to have you join us. And today's session is on the future of localization and locally led action. Slide, Alexa. As you join us, and I can see the number is getting bigger and bigger, thank you. Please do introduce yourself in the chat. And if you do represent a local national actor and you've not shared with us information and details about your organization, please do tell us something about the organization, whether it's a CBO, a local or national organization, or women-led organization. Do share with us, or it's a government entity. Share with us if you have our website, do share a link, a Facebook handle, please do share that with us. And anything more that you would like us to hear. Just a reminder that during this series of conversations, we have been calling on the GNC Collective. And we still do call on the collective to listen and take insights from what we've had from the previous conversations and today's conversation. And the collective is everyone working in the NIE space at all levels, including the local national actors and the international actors and all those, the government authorities, academia, as long as you are engaging with the GNC in one way or another. Slide. As I've been mentioning, we've had 3 sessions. The first session was on what challenges local national actors are facing and what opportunities are out there. And that was on 10th. And just like today, we had morning sessions and afternoon sessions to try and give opportunity for as many people as people from different time zones. And then the second session was on Monday, and that was how can the GNC collective support local and national actors? And the collective being you and me, the LNAs, the government, all the other partners, the academia, all the other agencies that you really engage with. And we want to end off today by saying, okay, we've seen the challenges out there. We've seen the opportunities out there. We have suggested ways in which we think we can get support. We've also discussed the support we currently have. And now we want to move forward during these challenging and rapidly changing times and say, where are we headed to? What is the future of localization and locally led action now that we know the space that we're in? Next. Please, as you join us, do continue typing in your name. And before we continue to go to the details of where we're from, I would like Alexa to come in and give us a summary of what we've had in session 1 and what we went through in session 2, and then we can continue with our introductions. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Martha. Martha, do you want to do an introduction for yourself before I get into the summary?
I sort of wanted to do it later when I'm telling people where I'm from, but
okay, no problem.
Yeah.
So I'll do my introduction now just because it's convenient. Good morning, Good afternoon, colleagues. Great to be connecting with you again today. My name is Alexa or Alexander Humphreys. I am the Localization Help Desk for the GNC. I also support the GNC with strategy development, and I'm based in Lisbon, Portugal. Really happy to be here again today for the third session. of this important series. We did want to summarize very briefly some of the key things and the initial findings coming out of the first session, those 2 calls, as well as the second session. In terms of the first session, we asked our local and national partners if they have been affected by the changing NI landscape in recent months. Of those who responded to that question, 78% said yes, they've been affected. 14% were kind of unsure if or how it affected their organization, and 7% said no, it has not affected us. In terms of how local and national actors have been affected, we're hearing lots about loss of staff, reduced teams, closed projects, decreasing access, and increasing insecurity. Of course, the effects of reduced funding, challenges with climate change and drought, specifically in Somalia, lack of fuel for transport, restricted supplies in Palestine, and Afghanistan facing a number of challenges, including forced displacement of returnees from Pakistan and Iran, as well as bans on female education. When we asked during that first session how local and national actors are adapting or innovating, responding to these challenges, we were hearing a lot of different things, from diversifying funding and pursuing more support from national government, increased use of digital cash transfers for efficiency, stepping into new roles they hadn't formerly held in terms of service provision, prioritizing different geographic areas and different participants for different programs. And then we also heard a great case study of Somalia, of local national actors mentoring other local national actors. So that was a very quick summary of session 1. Also going to provide a very quick summary of session 2, but again, all of these findings are going to be consolidated into a brief but comprehensive report, which will be more detailed than what we're presenting here. For session 2, we were really interested to know, in terms of support, what are local and national actors accessing now, and what would be useful for them to strengthen their ability to deliver nutrition and emergency services. So what we heard during session 2 between the 2 calls is that local and national actors are leaning on local networks that were already established prior to recent months and the challenges of the recent months. Also existing support systems within communities. In some cases, leveraging existing funding or the funding that hasn't been affected to try to utilize that and leverage that for other programs or keep programs from shutting down. Reliance or use of buffer stocks, support from health facilities, in some cases, capacity strengthening opportunities or opportunities for exchange, networking and partnerships, one organization developing a plan for building new partnerships, and then coordination support coming from government entities. So these are some of the kinds of support that actors have told us that they're leaning on at this time. And then thinking about what would be useful to them. This is a super interesting conversation, but we definitely heard that flexible multi-year funding is really would be really, really helpful for them in service provision and doing the important work that they do. Opening resource platforms so that they are more accessible for local and national actors. Connecting local and national actors with smaller foundations or donors that could could fund them directly. A lot of talk about the value there would be to networking, strategic partnerships, consortiums, and ideation with international actors and local actors to make sure that the work that they're doing is more impactful and really focuses on locally led solutions. There was a fantastic idea to create a directory of local and national actors to increase their visibility. We heard mention of the idea of sort of international actors adopting local and national actors who have similar objectives and sort of transferring funding and support that normally they would be sending in country, but sending it through these actors or to these actors. Capacity strengthening, virtual training sessions would be really useful. Support with developing SOPs. Maximizing sharing of information and educational messaging through media. We heard about that. And then other kinds of support, such as support from government, from private sector, nutrition supplies, and hardware. And then another thing I thought that we heard as well is this idea of if nutrition and emergencies could be technically supported by the host country within the country of support. So again, this is a very quick overview. We're going to be going into more detail and summarizing this more fully in the report that we'll be sharing for the collective. And without not wanting to spend too much time on us talking, we're shifting over to more hearing from you, but just a quick overview of how the session's going to go. Similar to the other sessions, we will have a series of interactive polls using menti.com. We're going to open the floor for discussion at various points. Really happy to hear from you. Turn on your mic or raise your hand or whatever you're comfortable with, but happy to hear from you. You're also welcome to write your thoughts and insights in the chat. It's another way of documenting and hearing from you. And we're not here necessarily to answer questions, but if there are questions, we'll redirect them probably to the group or share them more widely in the group. And I know, Martha, I'm about to hand over to you for these polls, but before I do, just a quick reminder, colleagues, that to access the polls, you can do it from your phone or from your computer. You just go to www.menti.com, and then we'll use the code at the top of the screen, 69455945. And this code will take you through all of the polls. You just have to go one time and enter the code one time. It'll take you through all the polls. If for any reason the polls don't work, at any point, feel free to type your response in the chat. Okay, over to you, Martha.
Thanks, Alexa. And I'll take this opportunity to also respond to this question. Once again, just to introduce myself, my name is Martha Nakakande. I co-chair the Anti-Racism and Localization Working Group and also the Wasting Program Advisor within the GNC Operations team. And if I were to answer this question, I would definitely say I come from an international organization. So I would be among those that have so far entered the group. So please do tell us what kind of organization or agency you represent. It could, an agency here could be government, could be LNAs, all other parties. Please do go in there in the Menti, as Alexa's explained. Share with us where you come from. It's important that we have an idea of who we're engaging with in these conversations. I know that in the chat, there were quite a few people that introduced themselves as coming from several organizations at local, national level. Please do also use the chat. I can see Ali Hassan from Self Vulnerable Mother and Child, which is a local organization in Somalia.
Yeah, Martha, just to compliment, I also see Latifullah from FAWDO, which is an NGO in Afghanistan, as well as Medical Nutrition Global Aid, Magna, some other local national actors in the chat.
And even those that have attended as individuals, please do share with us in the chat. We really appreciate you spending your time with us. So Alexa, I think we can go ahead. We see we have a slightly higher presentation from INGOs, but I believe they're also, and I can see LNAs also the numbers getting higher. So happy to have all of you join us. We still have not had any one mention that they're from a government or a specific government authority like the Ministry of Health. And then I see also Abdul from Magna. Happy to have you. That's in the chat. We have Abdullahi Abikar from ADRO, which is an NGO in Somalia. So happy to have you. So definitely the Menti representation may not necessarily reflect all the people that we have joining us today. On to the next question. which is which regions would represent where you are listening in from today, or where you will be engaging with us from today. I would be considered under the Eastern and the Southern African region because I'm currently in Uganda. Please again do join the Menti or continue to click on to put your suggestions. We do have also Maria from Relief and Development Peer Foundation Yemen. So Alex, just to confirm, there's many people that are actually responding with the organizations in the chat. Okay, we have quite a huge number coming in from the Eastern and Southern African region. Followed by Central Asia. Okay, I think the largest number today is coming in from the Eastern and Southern Africa region, followed by South Asia and Central Asia, and then on to the Middle East. And we have a couple that are coming that are representing other regional groupings. They could be Europe or individual participants, or those who feel like they have a global representation, not specifically attached to just one particular regional grouping. And yes, these regional groupings may not necessarily cover all the countries that are in the world. So just because we have a lot to discuss, we will leave this at that. Those who join us, please do continue sharing in the chat, and we'll go on to the conversations now. So on to, again, this is a poll. As you're well aware, those who have been joining us in the previous two, we're doing a lot of polls. So our first question today is, what do you envision for the future of localization and locally led action? In the past two series, we have asked INGOs, international actors, to really do more of listening as opposed to sharing. But in this particular question, we want responses from everyone that is on the call, both international actors, individuals, and local and national actors. You can write in the Menti, you can put up your hand or unmute yourself and share with us. And you can also put more information in the chat. And Alexa, if I can't see some of the people raising their hands, we will probably have to do this together. But please do go ahead and share with us what you envision as the future of localization and locally led action within this changing time. And it's a time where we're having a lot of change happening, but also restructuring, re-engagement. So it's an opportunity, and we need to use this opportunity. So let's share. It takes a bit of time for responses to come in, but I can see they're already coming in. Yes, thank you. The first clarification or comment is that we should make an actual commitment aiming at sustainability and not just something for us to checklist and tick a box so that we gain funding. It has to be something that is feasible and we can be realized. Thank you. Yes. An exit strategy for INGOs. Okay. You can also raise your hands and mute yourself and speak. We need to take actions from all actors based on the needs of the locals or the local people and not based on donor interest. Yes, Zuleika, your hand is up, I think.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum everyone. Thank you so much.
Alaikum salam.
Thank you. This is Zulaikha Kaihan, Localization Manager at Save the Children Afghanistan. So regarding the question of envisioning the future of localization and locally led actions, as very recently we have developed our roadmap, I wanted to share our vision that we have considered as one of the strategic approach for localization, which is a humanitarian and development sector where national and local actors can set the agenda, they can directly access funding, and they can play a central role in decision making and shaping the policy and advocacy. And as well as we should ensure high quality, locally led transformational programming for all the people in need and especially for children. This is one of the visions that we have, in fact, our vision in a roadmap for Save the Children localization approach. And considering this vision, just to add that, in fact, the most important point is for me is to build the trust first and then to have the better coordination. When we have the solidarity, when we have the coordination, then that's the time that we can hear from those local communities, local and national actors, that what is the real need. And then when we understand in it, when we really provide the support that they need, that's the time that we empower them. And with empowering them, that's everything that we, in fact, envision for the future, that they can be in the lead, not just to share their ideas, but also to take some actions, to lead on the different responses, especially for Afghanistan, that we see that we face a lot of challenging situations, but the international community's role should be just to listen, amplify, and back them. Trusting the durable change comes from the within, from the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zuleika. And I see so many responses coming. Alex, unfortunately, when the responses come in, they keep on going up, so you can't see. But I know that I've seen someone talk about resources, moving away from tokenism and actually really getting the work done. There's been talk about equity or resource distribution. I see also conversations on placing local organizations in the rightful place in the humanitarian structure. And I would wish someone to tell us, a little bit more when you say, let's put them in the rightful place in the humanitarian structure. What exactly are you trying to mean here? It would be good to explain what that is. There's also conversations on co-creation and co-implementation between international actors and LNAs and the communities they engage with, shifting power to local actors with long-term flexible funding and giving them power to make decisions using local knowledge. I think someone's mic is on, and I hope they can hear that we've had. Thank you so much. Please keep the points coming. There are also some suggestions in the chat. There's one from Asef talking about involving the community to reach people and then financial support. He talks about, says the financial support is given to communities, but it's very difficult as they spend some of their money for weddings and religious celebrations. Thank you, Asef. Any contributions, Alexis? Anything that I've left out that is being shared in the Menti? We have about 15 responses in there.
Yeah, no, Martha, I think you summarized the Menti quite well. Just to add, I think Asif had his hand up earlier. I don't know, Asif, if you still would like to come in and compliment with anything, you're very welcome.
Any more additions? Zuleika again mentioned that localization should be seen not as a trend, but a pathway to lasting peace and community ownership. I couldn't agree with you anymore. It shouldn't be a trend. It shouldn't be the topic of the day or the topic of the season, but something that has to be continuous. Thank you. Any additions? I'm trying to move through the list of participants to see if there's anyone with their hands up. And yes, just a reminder that this is open to everyone, not just local and national actors. There's been another response indicating that local organizations and communities should actively participate right from the design to the response of the response through implementation, monitoring, evaluation, and giving them the resources to make all this possible. They should be part of the structure, part of the project management cycle, if it's a project or a program. And yes, I agree with you. They should be availed the resources to do this work, not just to say that they will be involved. Any additions? Alexa, you're on the back end of the Menti, so I don't know if there are more people coming in. We do partnerships with there's someone who has just mentioned that we need to have partnerships with local NGOs. Partnering with local NGOs lowers operational costs and enhances project impact, but it's essential to implement robust monitoring systems to ensure accountability and effectiveness. Yes. And there's a very, very good important point added there. I think this was in addition to the structure where they should be, which is give them the support and the respect that they deserve. Yes, Eshet, I hope I'm not butchering your names. Your hand is up. Please do unmute and go on.
Okay, thank you very much. Just I joined lately, sorry for that. For this specific question, I would like to see the local partners or the localization agenda could have the capacity for the local actors to establish the vertical and horizontal coordination mechanism from the community up to the global level. That would be my wish, to have such a kind of capacity at the local level. This is what I want to add more. Thank you.
Thank you. And I love the fact that someone also just mentioned that local actors should be involved in the current human reset discussions to share their own narratives. I would not argue against that in any way. I wish I could type it again, but yes, thank you. That needs to happen, and I hope is happening as those conversations are happening at the different levels. Thank you. We do have 1 hour and there's so much to share. There's a question here or suggestion from Andy who says she would love to hear if LNAs feel that they are being involved at the moment. And there's someone who has put a suggestion also that local actors need to have a voice at local, regional, and international platforms. So for the LNA representatives here, I guess it would be if you think you are, Alexa, maybe we're going to take off route a bit, but I would like to hear from the LNAs here. If you feel you're being involved at the moment, maybe you could, which reaction? You could send us a clapping hand reaction right now so that we can know if you that feel they're being involved. I think we do have a clapping hand in Teams, or you could share in the chat and say yes or no.
Yeah, because we need a way to know if you feel like you're not being involved. So yeah, chat is a good way to go. Great.
I have not seen any clapping hands, so maybe that's a sign that we're not being listened to as LNA, because we said we want to use clapping hands as we're being listened. Oh, there's one clapping hand. Yes, we're being listened to. That's one. Any other LNA reaction? That's probably not a good sign. And maybe this is something we can try and follow on with the various LNAs. And as we wait for that, I'll hand over to you, Alexa, to continue with us this conversation. Thank you.
Sure.
Yes, Dr. Paul, LNA stands for local and national actors, and this can involve government, it can involve local organizations, that is organizations in a smaller particular geographical area in the country, or larger national NGOs that have maybe more than three offices in the country. They could be women-led organizations, they could be any civil society organizations in the country. That is what we mean by LNA. Thank you.
Yeah, and also
Over to you,
national.
Alexa.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Martha. Also national and subnational government, if we didn't
Yes.
mention that. Great. Okay, so colleagues, we are moving to another poll now. And we're going to ask that only for this poll, only our local and national colleagues, partners, representatives of local and national organizations or government respond to this one. So the last poll, we were asking very broadly, what do you envision for the future of localization and local-led action? Now asking for specifically from the perspective of local and national actors, what do you envision as the future roles for local and national actors, as well as for international actors? And just interested to hear your response on this one. Again, this poll, we're asking just for our local and national actor representatives to respond to this one. And if for any reason the Menti is not working for you, feel free to put your response in the chat. And let us know what you think. This is, we really welcome your thoughts and your creative dreaming. We welcome you to be bold. And yeah, and the Mentimeter is essentially anonymous. So if you feel like you have anything you'd like to share that maybe you don't want to be quoted on, feel free to use the Mentimeter as anonymous. Jack, you're asking to have the question in the chat. No problem. Oh, for the question from Andy. Got it. Thanks for putting that. Great. So colleagues, I think this was touched upon a little bit during the last poll. This idea about having local and national actors and communities sort of leading and driving. I really welcome any additional thoughts you have on from local and national actors. What do you envision for the future roles of local and national actors? What would you like to see? How could it change? How could it be improved? And also of international actors. Also, sorry, the floor is also open if anyone would like to come in and speak on this point. Any of our local and national actor representatives, very welcome to come in. It's easier to speak than to type. Asaf, would you like to come in? Asif, we can't hear you, but I think your mic is on. Feel free to come in if you'd like to. So Asif, maybe you're having some technical difficulties, but please feel free to come back in at any points. So thank you. We have some responses coming into the Menti. First one about sort of a nice articulation of the different roles. Local and national actors should lead program design, implementation, and decision-making. International actors can support through capacity building, technical expertise, and resource mobilization. Great. Then we have another one. Local and national actors are able to assess the current status, attract funding, design and implement projects to address the gaps, and build tangible improvements by ensuring accountability. I think that is a great vision for the future role of local and national actors. So from among our local and national actor representatives, any other thoughts on this? Any other visions? Any other ideas? Feel free to turn on your mic and come in if you don't have anything to share. So thank you for putting your thoughts in the chat since your mic's not working. I think the international actors will support. Another one in the Menti. Local and national actors leading program design and implementation with technical support from international actors. Excellent. Great. Going to give a couple more. There we go. Local and national actors are better positioned to implement projects effectively in remote areas due to their local knowledge, accessibility, established community trust, and adaptability, which enables, there might have been a little bit more to that one, but some really excellent points there. Local and national actors will leverage technology to enhance communication, data sharing, and the implementation of solutions. I love that. Love that. I love that agency of translating data into action being in the hands of local and national actors. Fantastic. Thank you for finishing the thought from the second one over, which enables local and national actors to address challenges that often deters INGOs from such regions. Great. Well noted on the comparative advantage of local and national actors and strengths. Okay, I'm gonna maybe just give a minute more on this question. And then we do have one more poll, which is probably the most important poll of the whole series. No pressure. The next question is probably the most important. Last chance if anyone would like to add anything in the Menti for this question, or if anyone would like to turn their mic on and come in and speak. Alima, hello, my dear. Please come in.
Thank you, Alex. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. So what I envision for the national local actors is where they're in a situation they're able to, lead program designs, they're able to undertake delivery, and also have the autonomy to make their own decisions using their local knowledge, their local capacities. And also for the international actors, their support is always needed, but we look into a situation whereby the international actors are able to provide, technical support, provide funding, and but also this should be done using the local leadership. So it should have a shift whereby the local actors are not just implementers, but they become people who will lead the response, and the international actors are not just people who will be like who direct the program, but they become the supporters of the national actors. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your vision, Halima. Really appreciate it. Any other last thoughts on this point before I see another one's just coming? Local and national actors could work together, and local and national actors should lead the program design. Great. Great. Seeing lots of excellent comments around the leadership, the important role of leadership of local and national actors, and that being more central and more of the driving force. Fantastic. And also, they can play a key role on local solutions for social cohesion in conflict-affected sites. Absolutely. Fantastic. Okay, colleagues, in the interest of time, I'm going to take us to the next poll question. This one, this is a poll for everyone on the call. So we'd be really happy for everyone on the call to put some thought into this. This is sort of the culmination of the series. So the first session, we talked about what are the current challenges. Second session, we talked about what support is needed to address some of those challenges. And now we're asking the question about, we looked at sort of the vision. What is our vision for the future of localization with the action? Now, having reflected on what we've seen together over the last calls and sessions, now the question is, what needs to shift now during this really essential period and moment of change to build the foundation for that vision that we've started to look at together? That vision for local leadership, direct implementation, flexible funding, all these pieces. What needs to shift now? Welcome everyone on the call to feed into this. Feel free to use the Menti, put the code again in the chat. If the Menti is not working for you, feel free to respond in the chat. And also feel free to turn on your mic and come in and tell us what you think. So something that needs to shift now, redesign coordination structures to enable local leadership. So co-leadership of clusters. That's one thing that needs to shift now. What else do we need? What else do we think needs to change right now in order to put us on that path for our vision? The UN and donors need to shift from a risk and compliance mentality and allow space for more flexible funding flows. Oh, Dr. Mohammed, I see your microphone is on. Did you want to come in and add anything? Oh, good. Something else that we feel needs to shift now, having partnership models where INGOs work in partnership with LNA rather than mainly as providers of aid. Great. We need partnership models to shift now. Prioritize local human resource development, leadership, training. Zuleika, please come in. Happy to hear your thoughts.
Thank you so much. I thought the first thing to share and about what change is needed. In fact, it is the mindset change, let's say. Most of the things, even that we are talking about, it all comes back to the mindset change. So I think that's the biggest and the first very important thing to that we should focus on. And then it should be like this mindset change will be a pathway for us to reach the vision that we have. So it should be both among international actors and within the local and national actors themselves, both of them. The way the approach is like top-down approach in development and in humanitarian work, both. We are international organization, international communities, they most of the time have that kind of partnership, which is not that much like systematically, as I mentioned as well before. So most of the time we kind of think as decision makers and then local and national actors as implementers. And this is the idea that our mindset that need to be changed as the first thing. And then we should trust and we should value the local knowledge, leadership and resilience, both us and local and national actors. So for the making the foundation of this mindset change, in fact, it should be in a way that for partnership, for coordination mechanisms, everything, there should be like steps that we need to take. And then also that the confidence and the trust of local leadership, that's very, very much important. The other thing is, the next thing for me would be a sustainable focus, a huge focus on capacity strengthening. So in the capacity strengthening, I wouldn't say again that capacity building. Why I didn't say capacity building? Because we have capacity within local and national actors. So we are not saying capacity building. We say capacity strengthening in a way that if they need technical support, we need to provide them technical support. And then for local and national actors to confidently understand and realize that what is their need and ask for that and talk about that. So these two things are very, very much important for me, that these two, in fact, should change. And just to very quickly mention that for us as a Save the Children, in fact, like for 2025, we will prioritize this mindset change. We will start even from within Save the Children Afghanistan, and then that will be our priority, because in some of the meetings, and since I have joined in the role of localization manager, even some of our colleagues, they maybe will be very, very much against the localization. They will say like, we don't need localization, because this is a mindset that they think like maybe localization means that international organizations will not kind of be in country anymore. And then what about the staffing, everything? So this is the mindset currently that we see. But if we change it in a right way to make people realize that no, it's a way, in a way that if we are Save the Children and there's a partner of, let's say, COAR or any other organization, as an example, I'm saying, so there should not be any gap. Like if I'm staff of Save the Children, I should have the same feeling when I'm a staff of a partner. There should not be that gap that I feel afraid that if international NGOs, they they will not continue, then what will happen? So if we build that capacity, if we make that mindset change, then that's the real change. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's fantastic to reinforce this idea that it is going to take a mindset shift or change. And potentially that's the most important first step that needs to change now to set the stage for everything else. Thank you so much for sharing that. Lots of other good things coming in the Minty. I can read some off, but please, anyone who would like to come in on this important point, please turn on your microphone. Happy to hear from you. Let's see, prioritize local human resource development, leadership training and systems. Local and national actors need to have strong representation in humanitarian reset, exclamation. I completely agree. Funders and should consult and design and co-design local organizations, not just contract them. Completely agree. Oh, I see a hand coming up. Andy, please come in.
Also putting on my video just because like I should. Hang on. Wrong headset. Can you hear me now?
Sound good. Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, good. Good. Sorry about that. I just want to say I know I'm an international actor, and I want to make sure that there's space for local national actors to be able to really lead. And I feel that that space is not being given, and it makes me cry, because I agree with, I don't know, the last speaker, I don't know what your name was. I agree with everything that you said. It's a mindset shift. And I feel like we need to start having dialogue with international actors amongst ourselves to be able to start saying, how do we need to change? We shouldn't be thinking about designing things, about anything. We should only be focusing on what local national actors are asking for from us. And I feel like it's super important that we start to say, okay, what is our role, and question it, because it's governments, and in some cases it's not governments, because there maybe aren't in a position where they're supporting their whole population. So it's local national actors that really need to stand up. You guys are standing up. I'm not saying that. We need to make sure that international actors are giving that space and thinking about, we have there are capable populations in every single country, and it's giving them that space to think and lead. How should it be done? But at this moment, I fear that the humanitarian reset is not allowing that to happen. And but for example, like the Near Network, I think is doing some great work, and it's how to really bring all these voices together. Okay, I'm going to stop there, but I think this question makes me super passionate. So I'm happy to, yeah. Anyway, okay, over to
Thank
all
you
of you.
so much, Andy. Thank you so
thank you.
much. Really happy to hear from you and your passion on this topic. Absolutely. Some other great things coming through the Menti, but colleagues, please come in. We have about 10 minutes, a little less than 10 minutes. Would love to hear from you. If you feel like you'd like to speak, feel free to turn on your mic. Love to hear from you. Looks like also in the Menti, existing policies and strategies of local and national actors to be reviewed toward further enrichment in line with international standards. External leadership needs to take a step back, and in many cases, even leave, in order to allow local leadership to fully develop. Quite powerful, and I appreciate that was added. Oops. Incentivize donors and INGOs to measure success by how well they support local leadership, not visibility. That I can pop down. Oh, wonderful. Current power holders need to open up spaces for national level leadership. Nothing should be done without local leadership. International actors should only do things local actors ask for. Really appreciate that strong stance, and that's something that needs to shift now. We need a truly effective local and national actor capacity building system that works in parallel, but also in synergy with the humanitarian system that's already in place. INGOs should transition to technical support roles, exit strategies, or advisory functions. Excellent. Empowerment of LNAs so they're confident enough to international platforms and don't feel too small to have a voice. Less top-down approach and invest more in capacity sharing, mutual learning, leveraging the existing local capacities. Enforce localization quotas. Because in the words of our colleague Dennis, what gets measured gets done. So enforce localization quotas. Tie donor compliance to auditable localization benchmarks, not just voluntary commitments. Great. Donors, INGOs, and LNAs to jointly address what would make direct funding to LNAs possible. Make local organizations capable to lead the project, so supporting them to take on those leadership roles, institutional capacity building or strengthening. Shift to local frameworks of aid, drawing in Indigenous knowledge, mutual aid, and solidarity principles. Colleagues, I can keep going on. There's a lot of great comments here, but if anyone would like to speak, please feel free to turn on your mic and jump in. Also seen from Halima in the chat, we also need national actors to be included in the reset discussions globally, regionally, and nationally. They should be in all the discussion tables for them to chart their way forward. Completely agree. Capacity building of the international actors on evidence of how significant the shift to locally led response is vital for sustainable, impactful interventions. Wonderful. Shifting to a localization model in humanitarian aid involves channeling all funding through the Afghanistan Humanitarian Fund to reduce overhead and eliminate middle actors. So very important and specific to Afghanistan, the context. Local actors having equal seats in coordination bodies, not just consulted. By co-chairing. Bringing voices together to ensure that local and national actors are heard. Create an enabling environment in which LNA capacities are strengthened. And their needs, as it's expressed by them, are fully participate and lead in the planning, development, implementation, and monitoring. So a lot of important pieces there. Yeah, large UN agencies take over 35% for operational costs. This increased cost efficiency. Yeah. It's not the only reason for localization, but cost efficiency is definitely part of it. Yeah, and I appreciate the comment here about eliminating harmful language like capacity building that implies inferiority. Completely agree with that. And I appreciate the comment earlier about using language like capacity strengthening, because we're not starting from zero. Whenever we do capacity strengthening, there is a lot of existing capacity in countries, and especially among our local and national partners. And we are only complementing that when we come in and provide technical support. Okay, colleagues, we have 5 minutes left. Would anyone like to come in and turn on their mic and compliment thoughts, ideas? What needs to shift now? Thank you, colleagues. If no one else would like to come in and speak, you're still very welcome to. But if no one else would like to come in and speak, Martha, maybe we wrap up. I think we only have about 4 minutes left. So I'll start the wrap up, but if anyone has anything left to say, please let me know. So want to thank everyone, of course, on behalf of the GNC Anti-Racism Localization Working Group. Really appreciate your thoughtful engagement in this conversation and this discussion. As has been mentioned during this call, this is at a critical moment of change in the humanitarian sector. A lot is changing very quickly, and we wanted to make sure that there are spaces for nutrition emergencies practitioners, but especially local and national actors, to be able to discuss and to have dialogue around this and to help us imagine and work towards a better future. Your leadership and insights that you've shared during these conversations have been noted, and we are aiming to summarize everything into a brief report that can be made available to the GNC collective. And we want this report to be very brief and powerful, and that is available to everyone. It is a common good, and that it can be shared and hopefully influence some things. I know for us as part of the GNC team, that means influencing how we continue implementing our GNC localization roadmap. So it can help influence that. Also can help influence our strategy development. The GNC is developing a new strategy, and localization and locally led action is going to be a strong part of that. So this can also influence that process.
There's something in the chat. Alexa, there's something in there's some comments in the chat There's one where Andy suggests, in terms of the funding shift, donors need more efficient channeling of their funds through one of your organizations. So would consortium approach for local and national actors help this possibility to help donors engage with LNAs? Where this time, I think the LNAs are in consortium with other LNAs, not LNAs in consortium with IAs. Zolaika is asking also what would be the next stage, and will there be further engagements for the process of some of the actions?
Yeah, great. I think from my side, I can just share. Please, anyone who has any thoughts for Andy's comment, please respond in the chat because we'll see that. In terms of the next steps, it's taking our learnings and what we're hearing from everyone on these calls, analyzing them, summarizing them, compiling them into one report. In terms of further engagements, we're considering replicating the series in French so we can make sure that we have more of our colleagues engaging. But in terms of future engagements, Martha, any thoughts from your side on further engagements for progress for some of the actors?
I think you've already mentioned most of them. We can concretely say that in terms of us, we've already mentioned that we're doing the report, to be using this information to inform the strategy development process that is going on. And we will be sharing this with the whole GNC and advocating and asking for people to take action and move on from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Martha. I think our goal is to share the final report that comes out of these conversations as far and wide as we can. And just to say that the small piece of all these things that need to change, I think the small piece that the GNC can support on most is capacity strengthening. So please do not hesitate to reach out to the GNC. You can go to our website. I have put it in the chat. There is a request support button. So definitely technical support needs, feel free to come to us or contact your in-country nutrition cluster. That's the piece that we have the most immediate ability to support on. The other pieces, we'll do our best with advocacy and getting what we're hearing from you into the hands of other actors. So that's our sort of our promise from our side, right, Martha?
There is also a suggestion that perhaps a session, once the report is ready, to get feedback and maybe step forward, maybe call everyone back and say, okay, this is what we reported on. That's a suggestion.
Yeah, thank you for that suggestion, Andy. That's a good one. Okay. Thanks, colleagues. On that, we are at the end of the hour, so we're going to close. But thanks, everyone. Thanks, Martha, for co-facilitating with me. Thank you, Miriam.